and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be comparing my Multichrome eyeshadows. If I remember correctly, the very first Multichromes that I tried were from Dawn Eyes Cosmetics, and that's a loose pigment formula. The only two brands that I have that are pressed are Devinah and Clionadh, and I have one from Notoriously Morbid that is pressed, but it also came in a loose pigment formula. I did include some Darling Girl shades, but I know that they're no longer selling these. So the loose pigments are over a sticky base, but for the pressed shades, I didn't use a base. So I separated these by color scheme. So like greens, purples, reds, pinks, blues. And as I go, I will also talk about the varying textures of all the loose pigments because they do vary a little bit. So first up, I have the greens. We got Clionadh, Dawn Eyes, Devinah, and Darling Girl. Alluring and Gravity are basically the same shade. Alluring being definitely much more pigmented and metallic. Gravity looks much more dull. Celeste kind of sticks out. It's more golden than green. Trefoil, Spellbinding, and Entrancing are very, very similar. They both shift to a blue, while Anil shifts more purple. And the Dawn Eyes loose pigments that I have, I've had them for quite some time. I think maybe 2 or 3 years. I bought some of them before their rebrand even, and I feel like the formula has changed and it's not as pigmented and not as metallic as I remember them when I first got them. And I will insert how different these loose multichrome formulas look in the container, because I feel like the Dawn Eyes is more, because Dawn Eyes is definitely more like, it doesn't really have a strong shift in the container. It looks more like there's definitely some kind of filler, and it doesn't look as finely milled as some of these other ones, and I will show you what I'm talking about. And next I have kind of green, purple, and blue paired together. Captivating and Anil have a very similar shift, but Anil is much more teal, and Anil is a bit more true green. And Premonition is pressed, and I have to say I was pretty disappointed in the shade. It barely shifted in the pan, and when I swatched it and when I used it, I did not see the high metallic shine that was on the product listing on Etsy. It looked like it was supposed to look more like the Clionadh swatch, but it looked nothing like that in person. So I don't know if I just got a dud. And as you can tell, Clionadh looks like it just swatches the best. It really is so silky and smooth, and there's so much pigmentation right off the bat with just one swatch. Some of these other shades with the sticky base even were just look a bit more dull, but I don't know if that's because some of them are older. Between using Dawn Eyes when I first got them and now Clionadh, I feel like Clionadh is so much more impactful and definitely much easier to use than the Dawn Eyes loose pigments. And price point wise, I definitely would recommend Clionadh. Dawn Eyes is not exactly that much affordable, and Kristen Lee is also kind of in a similar range to Clionadh. So I'm showing these with a DSLR, and then I switched to my phone camera because I felt like my phone could capture it the best. And I also try to change up the lighting so you could be able to see the shifts. Now we're getting into the red. Got Dawn Eyes, Darling Girl, Devinah, Notoriously Morbid, and Clionadh. I remember when I first got Heavenly, it was my favorite. I was so astounded on the color shift. It was very strong and beautiful. It felt very fire-like, but now swatching it next to the Clionadh shades that I have, it feels definitely much duller. It was harder to build up over a sticky base, as you can see all the little fallout around the shades that were loose. So Destiny and Smolder are pretty much identical, very, very similar. If anything, Destiny might be just a little bit of a lighter purple shift, but they have the same kind of golden green shift, and they're both very, very highly metallic. And Destiny is pressed and not loose. And Asteria, I just thought in the pan it might be similar, but clearly looks totally different. So that's my bad. Darling Girl Gravity looks pretty dull. So does Alluring. I feel like these loose ones that I have from Darling Girl and Dawn Eyes, they feel like they have a bit more filler in them. And I don't know if that's to help the black base stick better with these color shifts, or if it's supposed to help with the pigmentation. But it's kind of crazy to see these in different lighting because they change so much. For the purples and the blues, I have Dawn Eyes Clionadh Darling Girl, and we've added Tammy Tanuka. I don't know if you've heard of this brand. It's a Russian brand on Etsy, and they have very, very affordable loose pigment multichromes. But the shipping does take a bit because it is from Russia to the US. But maybe the shipping time is less if you're not in the US. And they're definitely very stunning, but the formula looks a bit different from Dawn Eyes and Darling Girl. Immersion, Lunette, and Captivating look very, very similar. Big Bang and Rosette are very, very close to each other. They're pretty much identical. Big Bang and Rosette are pretty much identical, but I do feel like Rosette is just a bit more metallic and has a much stronger shift that you can see, and it has a more apparent shift in it. Otherworldly is very dull. Can't really see a shift in it. It's hard. I think it might be because the formula is older, but I feel like I remember it being much more metallic than this. Tammy Icing looks really beautiful, a little bit similar to Enchanting, but more metallic. Now I have the pinks. There's a little bit of a mixture of formulas here. The Life Giver and Fiery Mistress. They're pretty much like flakes, not really like a finely milled formula. Tantalizing, Riley, and Ephemeral Creature look very similar in their shift. Tantalizing is way dull though, but you can see it's like trying to shift. The Blush Dry formula is very interesting. It's very, very finely milled. I actually thought when I first opened it that it looked more like, I hate to say this because it's probably not true, but it looked more like chrome nail powder in its texture. Fiery Mistress and Magellanic, I can't pronounce that, look very similar as well, but Fiery Mistress is more flaky. The Devinah multichromes are definitely very pigmented, but I do feel like they're just a little bit more textured feeling and less silky than Clionadh. So now onto some brighter reds. We got Devinah, Dawn Eyes, Blush Drab, and Tammy Tanuka. And once again, Tammy Tanuka is much more textured. I thought Blush Drab might fit in here, but it's quite pink compared to the others. So Dazzling and Cygnus are a little bit similar, but Cygnus definitely has more of a pinkish shift. But they both shift to an orange. So Dazzling is more of a true red to a bright orange, while Cygnus definitely starts out much more with a pink strong shift and then shifts to orange. And lastly, we have the deeper reds that kind of have a golden shift. These ones look so crazy in all the different kind of lighting. So here in the first shot, they look very grungy, orangey red. And then you can see like almost a fiery shift from that to a golden. And then in another lighting, they almost have like a more magenta red. And then the bronze at the end. And these are all pretty similar. Intergalactic and Ravishing are definitely a little bit more dull. And then here in the phone lighting, you can see they look like golden greenish to purple. Heavenly looks very bronzy red here, while Magical looks very purple. So now let's compare the loose pigment formulas between these brands. All right, so first I'm showing you the Dawn Eyes. And these are the little sample sizes. It's like 1/8 teaspoon or something like that. These are the older ones. One of these was $6 versus one of the full sizes is $20. So essentially these are newer than these. But if you can see the texture, it's like a little balled up. And that one, you can still see the shift quite a bit. But this one, for example, I can't see the shift pretty much at all. This one also has that like thicker texture. Like it doesn't look silky or smooth and finely milled. It looks a little more clumpy. This shade Ravishing looks like nothing in the viewfinder. This one has a pretty strong shift in person, but in here it looks pretty weak. But I don't know if you can see the shift in the lid there. It's kind of crazy. It looks like this one has a lot of black base in it or something, but very similar texture, some little balled up clumpy pieces, and then this one too. So those are those, and then these are the newer ones. Now I don't know if they updated the formula a little bit. These seem much more finely milled and similar texture to the other ones, but not clumpy. Probably because they have to get through these little holes. So just to show you, it looks like it moves much easier, like it slides as if it's more finely milled. And these look like they have a pretty good shift. Next I have some Darling Girl Multichromes. These ones are also probably about a year and a half, maybe 2 years old. And these seem like they have pretty much the same texture and consistency as the Dawn Eyes. Next I have two Blush Tribe pigments, and these ones you can see how different they are from the Darling Girl and Dawn Eyes. It's just very, very finely milled. Let me try to make it move because you can really see it when it's moving. And then this one's just so amazing. I don't even know. It almost looks like liquid when this moves. This one's so amazing. I feel like this one looks a little bit like nail powder to me. And this one possibly, but this one's more like a pigment, so you will need a sticky base for sure. There's no way of applying this without a sticky base. So again, here's some Dawn Eyes cosmetics as well. And then we got Tammy Tanuka. So they have different formulas and different textures. So first I'll show you the ones that are similar to the Blush Tribe that look like they're liquid pigments. So all these three look like they're the same formula or just texture as the Blush Tribe. And when I went back to my Etsy cart to find my order for the Tammy Tanuka, I did find that some of them are either not being sold on Etsy anymore. I don't know about their website, if they're still on the website. And some of them, they've slightly adjusted the name, so I made sure to reflect that in the swatches. But these are very, very messy, but super stunning. See, this one's so similar to Blush Tribe. It's doing that flowy thing. I'm really good at describing things if you haven't noticed. So this is the other formula of the Tammy Tanuka. These are much more like powders versus the other ones that were like flaky, but they're still very, very finely milled. You can see the way they move. So these compared to Dawn Eyes and Darling Girl, Tammy Tanuka just looks like it's a bit more finely milled. It's not really clumping, it just looks like mica, while the Dawn Eyes just looks like it's got something in there that's adding substance. So let me just do a finger swatch of some of these textures to show you how they apply. And this will be with a finger over dry skin. So first up is Tammy Tanuka. You can see it's not really, it feels very light. I can't really feel the flakes. It feels very light. Definitely will need a sticky base for this, but it will look really beautiful. Next up is Blush Tribe in Genie. This one feels a little bit more gritty, but same effect as the Tammy Tanuka. Also will need a sticky base. Then I have Tammy Tanuka again, but this is a different formula. Feels very soft. You can see the multi-chrome really beautifully. But again, it will need a sticky base. So I'm trying to build it up. It just kind of blends away. So I'm gonna tap it on. Next up is Dawn Eyes Captivating. Feels very soft, definitely blending out really nicely and packing on, not really blending away. This is what it looks like on the finger. Then I'm going in with Ravishing from Dawn Eyes, and this is from the older batch. Just curious to see how the formula is. Feels pretty much the same. Very soft, easily buildable. It's not blending away. Very strong, nice shift. And lastly, I'm swatching Darling Girl Gravity. Also very soft, more translucent, but maybe that's just the color. But it's letting me build it up. very metallic, and very strong shift. So these are some dry swatches. And that is all I have for you for this video. I hope you found this helpful. Let me know in the comments below which brand Multichrome you've tried out and which one you like the best or worst. But I'm personally in love with the Clionadh pressed Multichromes. I feel like they filled every box that I ever wanted for a Multichrome. Since I started using Multichromes, I always hated the fact that they were loose. But now it seems that pressed Multichromes are becoming much more common. Fernet has had them for several years, and A Touch of Glam Beauty just came out with a bunch. So I would love to try those sometime in the future to compare them to the Clionadh. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.